What's going on? We are back again. It's your man, the Dominican Dream, and alongside
The Maniac.
for the Boxing Roundtable live edition, and we are ready to talk boxing.
Boxer.
Maniac, boxing is was a bit. Well, it was on a bit of a low. It was on a bit of a hiatus, and
Mm-hmm.
then it just started buzzing, buzzing with news. Turki Alalshikh, a boxing fan's dream, the guy that's making things happen. A lot of stuff is going on, man. He signed Ryan Garcia to some kind of contract. Uh, he's working with Pitbull, Isaac Pitbull Cruz. He's working with Devin Haney. He's working with Teofimo Lopez. He made already officially announced Eubank versus Conor Ben for April. And of course, the fight for the casuals that we don't really like to get into that stuff, but it's boxing and we got to talk about it. It's whatever. Three weight classes apart, two weight classes now, but basically three. One fighter has been begging for the fight. Another fighter has said that he doesn't really want he didn't want to entertain that fight. Neither did he want to entertain Turkey Alalshikh. Meanwhile, now he's taking pictures with him. Canelo Alvarez versus Terrence Crawford. Heavily rumored, heavily rumored right now uh, to happen probably around September. Um, Also, the return of Errol Spence only in the headlines because he's not returning to the ring. Uh, Errol Spence versus Fandora, which was never formally announced. It was announced, and then like the next day or the same day, it was announced that it was off. Uh, Talk to us, Maniac.
Well, I mean, let's start with what everybody want to talk about. I mean, Ralphie. Um, yeah, we know for October the doubleheader for the Haney Garcia. So, like we said, it's heavily rumored. We seen Canelo taking pictures with Turkey Alalshikh. They did not happen to just bump into each other and say, "Hey, let's take a picture." This was business talk. This was regarding the fight, a big fight, a mega fight. Me more so for the casuals than us, the hardcores. And you saw Crawford, cryptid tweet. He said, "I'm in the shock the world." It's easy to read between the lines. A lot of people already saying that this fight is a go. I don't think it's officially signed. They might be working out some particulars, but do expect within the next couple of days or weeks to hear that Canelo and Buck Crawford will 100% be going down in September. They probably working out location. I heard rumor was the Raiders stadium, Allegiant Stadium. The Raiders moved to Vegas from Oakland. So Canelo's done stadiums, Dallas Cowboys. He's fought in the Miami Dolphins. And look, you got Bud Crawford, two-time undisputed in the four belt era. You have Canelo, former undisputed at super middleweight. He's the king of the super middleweight division. Crawford just had one fight at junior middleweight. So yes, you make a lot of sense when you say we can even say to me he's still more of a welterweight than he's a junior middleweight, right? But regardless, he's going up multiple weight classes to fight not only a bigger fighter, but one of the best fighters in all of boxing, or a pound for pound fighter, right? These are two pound for pound fighters, Dream, that we're going to get in the ring. But the problem I have with this fight is that normally when we get fights of this magnitude, when you got two high caliber fighters, right? Normally there's a reward for the win of this fight. There's only a reward for one fighter in this fight, and that's Bud Crawford, right? Based on him going up and doing, all the disadvantages he's gonna have to face in this fight. Canelo beats Crawford, and we're gonna hear it, and deservedly so. Bro, you beat a welterweight / junior middleweight. Okay, I don't care if it was Bud. The guy's a small fighter, so
And let's specify. When you say reward, you're talking about reward as far as accolades, as far as boxing as a sport, as far as boxing, the accolades in boxing, because of course the only reason Canelo will step in the ring with Terence Crawford is because of a reward and a monetary one. So you're
Correct.
talking about as far as boxing, there's no upside to for Canelo to as far as for beating such a much smaller man.
Correct. And if Bud wins the fight, that just really cements his legacy as a fighter. And I also heard, again, it's just rumor, Canelo will be fighting in May as well, before September, likely against William Skull. Now, for those who don't know, he's the Cuban fighter who's currently holds the IBF belt at 168, the belt that Canelo gave up. So now it looks like he might want to get that belt back. So when he does fight Crawford in September, it's a more lucrative fight, right? In many ways, because now they'll be fighting for undisputed. So if Crawford goes there, right, if Canelo gets that belt, becomes two-time undisputed, Crawford goes up there, beats Canelo, he becomes three-time undisputed in the full belt era, making him the first fighter to do so. And I mean, he could just ride off into the sunset after that. But that's the reason I don't like it, because as you saw, Crawford Spence, two welterweights, there was going to be a reward for either fighter that won that. Usyk versus Fury, heavyweight. The winner deservedly got this. Canelo wins, it's going to be a lot of ass. It's going to be an asterisk next to that dream. So this is
Look,
why I don't like
look,
it. The casuals are gonna gobble it up, expect them to come to your shop while you there. Yo, you heard, and they're gonna be all excited, and you're gonna be like, yo, bro,
look,
it is
look,
what it is. So
look.
that's my take on that fight.
That's already been happening for months because as soon as Crawford started calling out Canelo, a lot of casuals or people that don't even qualify as casuals,
Yeah,
as soon as Crawford started opening his mouth and asking for that fight, they were already asking me and talking about it, and it's a subject that I didn't want to touch. I get annoyed really when people ask me such idiotic questions as far as boxing goes, and it's because they don't know. Maybe I shouldn't get upset at them, but I really don't like to waste my time, waste my saliva on on things that really don't merit me speaking about them. And this is a fight that, yes, it doesn't really merit me speaking on it. It doesn't because um, you got a guy that just came up to 154 pounds, a guy who even for is a small 154 pounder, not the biggest 147 pounder. A guy that fought Gamboa at 135 pounds years ago, 140, then 147. He's a lanky guy. He's not a bulky dude. He had trouble at 154 in his first fight against a guy with 11 fights who nobody knew. And now he wants to jump up all the way, not to 160, but to 168 to fight probably the biggest puncher at 168 and one of the biggest punchers and one of the strongest fighters in the sport in Canelo Alvarez. No, it doesn't make sense for the boxing mind for the hardcore boxing mind. It doesn't make sense. And if you are a hardcore boxing mind that is really caught up in this, then you drinking the Kool-Aid. You living in the moment. You getting caught up in the hype. I don't care for that fight. I don't want to see that fight. I never wanted to see that fight. But if Crawford wants to go up there and get his ass whooped or fight a timid fight a la Charlo, um, get knocked out like Amir Khan, so be it. If that's what he wants, that's what he wants to do. He's been begging for this fight, like those people do in the corner with a little cup. I mean, he the type he no he's been worse than that. He the type that when you inside the restaurant eating, he go in there and ask you, come on, man, I'm eating, dog, chill. That's how bad him and Bomac and all of them have been asking for the fight. Whatever, he's gonna get paid if the fight happens. I hope the rumor is false. I hope they're just fooling the world. I hope it's something else is gonna happen and not that. I don't want to see it. I don't care for it. Canelo wins that fight. Um, do I believe he knocks Crawford out? You know what I've been saying about Canelo for years. Canelo's not a good finisher. He doesn't know how to finish. But this guy, he's supposed to definitely knock out. If he doesn't knock him out, he's just again. He is what I've been saying that he is for years. He's a guy that can't finish opponents. He can't finish fighters. He doesn't know how to do it. If he knocks you out with one punch, great, but he's not the guy that's gonna put pressure on you, wear you down, and take you out, right?
Dream,
And if with a guy three weight classes basically below him, if he doesn't do that, this should be a testament to how great he isn't. And I believe that the fight
no, it's
could probably go 12 rounds, and that's sad to say.
it
That's
will.
sad to say.
I'm glad you know I understand where you're coming from, and the
And
reason
real quick, I'm not crazy about either guys. I think both of these guys are overrated and overhyped based on Canelo has always had the hype. You know, he got built up like that, and we know that Terrence Crawford, uh, you know, after he beat a dead Spence, has been, you know, looked at as Superman, right? And he's looked at as Superman again for this one. And again, in my opinion, he probably couldn't. In my opinion, I don't think he could beat Sebastian Fundora. I think he's too big for him. I don't think he, you know, we just saw this guy fight, and he's a dangerous fighter. The Russian dude, Bakram, you know,
yeah, yeah, Bachman,
Virgil
I
Ortiz,
mean,
Virgil Ortiz versus Terence Crawford. You could say it's a 50-50 fight. I'm gonna favor Virgil Ortiz. He's a big, strong boy. So imagine somebody at 168 pounds. Just pick everybody in their mind. Picture for 1 second. I'm gonna ask you this question because you're the one he on the show with me. Terence Crawford versus David Benavidez at 168 pounds.
nah, that's suicide, man. And
Okay.
I'm glad you brought that up because that was kind of be my next point, right? Because what people are gonna say here in this fight, Dream, is that, but he's chasing greatness. Why y'all hating on him, bro? No, it's not chasing greatness. What he's chasing is two things: money, and he's chasing vulnerability. He knows that there's vulnerability to Canelo, and he's a small dude. When I say small dude, I'm talking about height. Right? I'm not talking about in stature because he's a big dude. And he figures he's fooled because just like you mentioned, okay, he's chasing legacy. Why he wouldn't fight a Benavidez up there? What y'all was gonna say? Yo, but he a weight bully. No, but he can make 160. He's great. He's chasing greatness. So fight him. No, see. So again, this is what gets me upset with boxing fans. Now, um, Dream feels these guys are overrated. I don't, right? But I still don't. I agree with him. I don't like this fight. It's a stupid fight. It's a fight that, I love Turkey and what he's doing, but
Absolutely.
he wants, for some reason, he really wants this fight. I don't know if he promised Crawford after the Madrimo fight, like, yo, I'm gonna get it for you. Don't worry. And it's here. It's gonna happen, bro.
And again, I don't know why he's fixated on that fight. Oh, there's money. There's money in a lot of other fights. There's money in a lot of other fights without making a fool of yourself. Because what you're gonna do is you're gonna tip and tap. You're not gonna engage. You're not gonna trade. If you trade, you're dead. If you tip and you tap, it's gonna be a horrible fight. This guy's gonna have to chase you down. So it's not gonna be an action fight. If it's an action fight, Bud gets knocked the fuck out. If it's an action fight, Bud gets knocked out. Bottom line, period. It's got to be a Charlo Canelo type fight in order to go 12 rounds.
Facts. I
And
agree.
and Crawford knows how to do that. He knows how to. In fact, a lot of his fights go about 8 or 9 rounds like that, Sean, until he strikes like a cobra and knocks you out. He's not a guy that's going to be trading with you round in and round out, and he's definitely not going to trade with Canelo. And it's different when you get in there. It's different when you get in. He looks small. He's short. It's different when you get in there.
Facts.
He's a
Charlo. And Charlo's bigger than Bud.
much bigger than Bud. Much bigger. Matter of fact, if Charlo was in his prime still, the Charlo to beat Castano in the rematch, I pick him to beat Terence Crawford at 154 pounds.
That would have been a hell of a fight.
He's a true 154 pounder. Bud is
Facts.
not even a true 154 pounder.
True. True. And
So
it's
if y'all want to watch it, that's on y'all. Whatever. If y'all want to pay for garbage, you listen. There's people selling shit a lot worse than that, and people still buying it.
look, but before we move on from this fight, before so Hall of Famer, a fighter that me and you are big fans, were a big fan because he no longer fights. Timothy Bradley. He didn't. He not only say that Bud is gonna win this fight. He said he's gonna whoop Canelo's ass. So we know he's always been an advocate for Bud, which is fine, which is cool. I don't again, as we do on this show, we do break fights down. We're not gonna break it down right now. Let's wait till it's official. And
Yeah, but I'm gonna give him something right now, and what I'm
yeah.
gonna give him is that it's not gonna be no good fight. It's not gonna be no great fight. It'll probably go decision, and Canelo's winning. He's
So,
winning.
but
He's
I
too
mean,
big. He's
Dream,
too
let me
big.
ask you
Bottom line.
this. Yeah, yeah. If right, just your boxing mind, right? You're in Bud's corner. What is it that he has to do in order to win this fight from you? What do you think will be his best chance or his best chance of winning this fight?
He got to sneak into Canelo's room the night before and feed him some poison.
Like Gladiator, where he stabbed him in the ride up to the
Because
arena. He was
that's it.
already
And
wounded
he
prey.
ain't, and he still lost. And he still lost. He still got killed. You know what I mean?
You're right.
So look, and listen. Bud to me is they're about even as far as skill, as far as talent, different styles. They're about even. You could say Crawford is probably a higher caliber fighter, perhaps. Maybe he's more versatile.
Yeah.
Absolutely more versatile than Canelo
Yes.
Alvarez. But Canelo Alvarez has tools that Crawford doesn't. Like his body work, for example. And his power as a thudding power. It's a different kind of power, and he does have a better chin than Crawford at
Oh,
168.
at
At
168.
168. So listen.
And I even heard people talking about Bud stopping Canelo, bro.
Okay,
Now
look, look,
that's
look,
stupid.
look, look, look,
Now that's
look,
stupid.
Sean. The only way Crawford would do something like that or have a true chance is if they were to drain Canelo. But they're not going to drain Canelo. Canelo is the A side. Crawford has absolutely no say so. If Canelo goes, though, he can fight me, but it has to be in Guadalajara. And I could eat tacos in between rounds, and I could do whatever. And my round, I get 2 minutes off. He only gets one. Crawford has to accept that.
Yeah.
So if if Canelo gives into any disadvantage outside the ring, it would be ludicrous. And maybe he would only be doing it for money, unless Turkey says, "Look, I'm gonna give you I'm gonna give you 100 million, but there's a weight that you can't gain this much weight after the weigh-in,
Hmm.
or it has to be at a cash weight of 165." Anything is possible with Turkey now because he's getting that Turkey money,
Yeah.
right?
No,
Let's
you're
say
right.
so. If
That's a
if
good
that's
point.
right, if only that way, if he drains them, if he comes, but at the full 168 pounds with no rehydration clause, no, there's no chance. But let's see if there is some kind of clause because of the money that Turkey
It's
would
putting
be
up.
putting up for this fight.
You're right. That's gonna be an interesting thing to look forward to once the fight is officially signed, and what's gonna be the size of the ring and which gloves are they gonna use, and we'll see that the casual fans will be disappointed like they were with Mayweather Pacquiao.
Absolutely, absolutely, and that's why this is another casual money grab.
Yeah. Of course, I don't like this fight at all. I said it on the show on Wednesday, and I said it like it was stupid. It's a stupid. It doesn't make sense, bro. This is just. It's a guy that's rich and he could get whatever he wants. So I guess he wants to see this fight, and he gets it. It's just not gonna. They're gonna see. They'll be disappointed in that fight come September, and all we're gonna hear is that. And again, I like Bud. I got no beef with Bud. Just for the listeners, because I can already hear, oh, y'all bugging, you crazy, Bud. He better than. All right. Whatever y'all say, right? When September come back to the comment section, and I want to hear what's the excuses. Oh, yo, Canelo was just too big. Duh. What is it that Crawford is gonna guys? What is it that Crawford can really do to someone like Canelo, bro? You saw how big Jaime Munguia is. Crawford will have trouble with Munguia. I don't even think he beats Munguia. Come on, man. Yeah, yeah. There's 17 weight classes in boxing. You know why? They there for safety reasons because you just can't have a free fall. Have anybody? No, you can't. Dudes are dying there. So, but listen, if we go in there and put on the master class on Canelo, then more power to him. But I doubt it. I really do. Canelo's very experienced. He still, to me, has enough in the tank to beat someone like Crawford at his natural weight. So we'll see. Ralphie.
What's going on, guys?
Yeah. So you already been tuning in. So give us your take, man, before we move on to the next topic. Bud and Canelo, we know it's heavily rumored for September. Most likely it's probably 90% done. So if when it's officially done, man, what's your thoughts on that fight?
It's exactly what Dream has been saying. It's a gimmick fight. I don't know if you guys remember right after the Spence Crawford fight. I believe Crawford went kind of like on a tour, kind of like on a celebratory tour, and
Yeah.
went on the Breakfast Club. And they asked him, they were like, "Oh, well, why don't you fight Canelo or why don't you fight Tank?" And like he was kind of telling them, like, "Yo, that there's weight classes for a reason." Like the casual doesn't understand that. They just go basis on the basis of names. It's like when I was a kid, I would always say, "Yo, but why doesn't Julio Cesar Chavez fight Tyson?" They're like the two biggest guy that I would hear as a kid,
Yeah,
and
yeah. I
my
mean, you're
and
right.
and my brother would be like, "No, no, Tyson is much bigger. Like they can't do that." Like that, I couldn't comprehend that. That's how the casual fan thinks. So unfortunately, like this is what it is. But like I mentioned earlier, this is the powers that be mortgaging the future of boxing for a gimmick fight, for a fantasy fight night, PS2 fight that the casuals have no understanding of it. I mean, like we're
Correct.
talking about one of the guys that has had one of the greatest chins in the last 10 years in boxing, facing a welterweight.
One of the greatest chins at 160, at 154, 160, and 168.
Yeah, it's like if if him getting hit by Golovkin, and he was getting hit clean by Munguia, like clean. He was getting, and he was just saying like, "Yo, this is different." What makes you think that Crawford is gonna have to make an impact? And on top of that, Crawford is gonna get forced to fight a tactical fight, which is gonna make it a boring fight for the casuals. It's just gonna be a disaster, but it is what it is.
It's gonna be one fighter surviving.
Yeah,
That's it. One fighter surviving. And you asked
pretty
me a
much.
question, Sean. If I was in Crawford's corner, what would I advise him? There would be no. My advice would be don't take the fight. If we're gonna take the fight, do the best we can. Of course, they're gonna tell him to, stick and move. Maybe grab him on the inside, which is probably
Yeah,
impossible. Canelo's a very strong fighter. That he is. He's a
yeah,
very strong dude. How many people have you seen grab Canelo? Been able to grab him? He doesn't even allow you to get close enough to grab him, bro, because he has slow feet. They're like his feet are in cement, but he has really fast, explosive hands. People don't even get close to him. Think about all the fighters he fought. They don't even get close to him. They don't get close to him. What you think a guy coming from 147, 154 is gonna get close to him?
Yeah, he's gonna wash him up. Watch.
Look,
I'm
look,
being
look.
sarcastic.
Right.
That's what
If
Brad was saying.
now if you were now it reverse the question. If I was in Canelo's corner, what would I tell him? Easy. But he's not the kind of fighter that really does that. Bro, jab, jab, walk him down.
He has
Make him feel comfortable. I'll give him a round, maybe 2 rounds to make Crawford feel comfortable. Make him feel like he belongs in the ring. Then in the second or third round, I'll show him that he doesn't. This is not your weight class, buddy. Respect it. Right? So I would work behind the jab, Go to the body and walk him down. If I'm Canelo, I only walk in one direction, forward, forward,
Fact.
forward.
Which
And I'll take risks that I usually wouldn't take with bigger guys. Of course, Canelo's good at at his head
upper
movement.
body. He
Yeah,
got good upper body.
keep that upper body movement, that waist movement at the waist, movimiento en la cintura, like they say in Spanish. So that way, Crawford's accurate shots don't make the crowd go ooh and ah for a round or two. Because remember, yeah, Amir Khan was stinging Canelo Alvarez for the time that he stayed alive during the fight. Then Canelo said, okay, this is a fight. Let me walk forward a little bit. Let me throw a punch. Fight was over. And oh, that's Amir Khan. Da, da, da. Okay, Crawford's not. Doesn't have the greatest chin either. We seen him get rocked at lower weight classes. We
He
seen him
don't
get
got
rocked
that
by Cal
speed.
Velasquez.
And he doesn't have that speed.
He don't
Like,
got
come
the
on.
look. So if I'm Canelo, if I'm in Canelo's team, I take a page out of Robert Garcia. Walk him down, throw punches, break him down, take him out. That's it.
I
But
think
Canelo's he likes to wait. He likes to counter, right? So
Both
if
the
he
fight.
does,
It's gonna be
yeah,
weird.
yeah, if
It'll
he
be a
does
four-round
knock
fight.
Crawford out, it would be in one of those situations where Crawford is feeling a little comfortable and he thinks he's in the zone and he gets a little too close and he's gonna land something, but then he's not gonna be able to withstand what lands back.
it's I can see the fight going 12, and just Crawford just taking a shit ton of punishment. And I don't mean like getting hit in the head. What I mean is exactly what he's been doing to the bigger fighters, hitting them on the shoulder and just hitting the body. Like that's the type of punishment that we're gonna know whether Crawford can really take at 168, a weight class that he hasn't even been tested in. So it's like you're gonna see him taking real pain.
So
Yeah.
Um,
if Canelo has any pride, if he has any fucking pride, he won't settle for anything less than a knockout. If he has any pride. Sean, again, you know how I feel about him, but you know how the rest of the boxing world feels about him, or a lot of the boxing world, right? Oh, he's great. He's an all-time great. If he's an all-time great 168 pounder knockout artist, he's supposed to knock out, destroy, or embarrass the guy that's coming 2.5 weight classes up. He's supposed to do that.
I
Let's keep
agree.
it a buck. Let's
I
keep it a
agree.
buck.
And this is why, not for nothing, I'm going for Crawford in this fight. As much as because I hope this shit comes back to bite Canelo because it would have looked better if he lost to the likes of a Benavidez opposed to Bud. And while you
yeah.
did it all, you sold it for some money, bro. It's and to me, you're
But
gonna get
why would you change that? Because I remember in the past you were really upset at Crawford calling him out. You were like, all right, go ahead, go up there and get cooked, and you
yeah,
kind
yeah,
of
yeah,
wanted
yeah, yeah.
him to
But
go up there and get cooked by Canelo. So what changed?
what this is what changes that when you look at it, right, it was like, yo, stop begging because he was begging. It's like, I didn't go up there get beat. But now when I'm looking at it, I feel that Canelo should have never taken this fight, right? Because it's Canelo. We know Bud is gonna say, yeah, this is on Canelo. So I think Canelo, because there was a bigger fight to me with we know who, Benavidez, and on top of that, you're talking about two Latino fighters. Say what you want, the Latino market runs the boxing. It is right, and here in the U.S. So the numbers were gonna do retarded. Benavidez, Canelo. So you would have got the bag.
And,
You would have got even a bigger bag because of the pay-per-view numbers. And it would have been more of a legacy fight, fighting someone like Benavidez because of the killing streak he was on. Now you want to fight Bud. And this is
Let,
why I don't like it, because I'm
let,
still upset. But you know what? Let him, if he loses this fight, bro, it's gonna tarnish a lot of his career. I don't want to hear this damn greatest Mexican of all time if he loses to a welterweight / junior middleweight.
look,
And if
forget
he
losing.
gets
The fight shouldn't the fight shouldn't even be competitive.
it shouldn't. You're right.
so
I agree.
this is what I was saying earlier, which is unfortunately we're living in an age where fighters believe it or not, so well, certain fighters, not everyone, certain fighters have too much power. We're in an age where certain fighters have too much power, and I think that that just came with the kind of like the Floyd era kind of brought that over. Because even though before, for example, Oscar De La Hoya was the face of boxing, Oscar was putting himself out there and fighting a lot of people that they were risky fights. Like
He has one of the best resumes in the history of
yeah,
boxing
like
as far as people he
he
fought.
was
Yeah.
taking risk left
He
and
fought
right.
everybody. He fought
Oscar
who's
was
who.
different, man. Oscar
Yeah.
was different.
Yeah, Canelo is at a situation which is kind of like I don't want to. I already have a brand, and I don't want to tarnish that brand. And if you need me to tarnish my brand, it's practically selling you. Well, that it costs 200 million. That's the way that he's kind of like looking at it. Unfortunately, the money that's behind it is kind of saying like, well, either we work with him or we work against him. It doesn't carry over. They don't have the power to force him into a fight with Benavides. This is my thing, and I was explaining this earlier. The PBC has made error after error after error because they don't know how to build fighters. They stole Golden Boy's entire stable and took it over and created the PBC. And they didn't create a guy from scrap. They didn't create a guy from scrap. What they did was that they took established fighters already from Golden Boy and then just created a whole kind of co-promotional company. But had they been smart, they would have put a great marketing campaign behind Benavides and another guy, Tim Tszyu. They dropped the ball massively with that guy. That guy has the hallmarks of a star, and he might not be the most talented, but at the end of the day, that guy was a moneymaker. But they decided to pretty much push whatever the hell they wanted with the Thurman, the first fight, the first prime fight, like that they just dropped the ball. So I was explaining to people that normally you building a fighter, you put them against old guys that already have a good name, and you build them up to the casual fan base. Like that, they start recognizing like Canelo fighting a 40-year-old Shane Mosley, fighting like the likes of Miguel Cotto, fighting. You're fighting old names that pose very low risk or not as high risk. But at the end of the day, the casual fans, when they look at the resume, they're like, oh my God, this guy has fought everybody. No, you build those guys up. Same thing with Golovkin. Golovkin was a killer. He was pretty much knocking down dudes out. But at the end of the day, they came out with that Mexican style slogan, which was a massive marketing campaign behind it. You got to do the same thing with the next guy up. Now look at like it's 3 weeks away from one of the biggest fight, Morel versus Benavides, and only the hardcores know about it. Nobody's talking about that fight. That is
No.
very sad. That is extremely sad that we're even like saying that
Not
because
not not
everybody,
not not only is it a big fight for the hardcores, but it's probably one of the most exciting fights in all of
yeah,
boxing that could be made, and no one outside the boxing circle is even mentioning that fight. And you know what? I don't really watch ESPN because I'm not a sports fan. I'm a boxing fan.
yeah.
So I don't even know if they're really mentioning that fight on ESPN, if they're interviewing them, if they're hyping it up, if they're promoting it. Yeah, Sean, you watch ESPN more than me. Have you seen it on ESPN? Have you seen
No,
any?
no, I don't actually. Believe it or not, as a big sports fan that I am, I do not watch Sports Center. So, to answer your question, I'll be lying if I say no, but I doubt it because I follow a million boxing pages, and they would have put it on their page if there were interviews on ESPN regarding either Benavides or Morel. So we didn't see nothing. So yeah, you're right, Ralphie. You are 1,000% correct. The promotion for this fight is atrocious, and it should be better, but we'll see.
Nerd, didn't De La Hoya catch Chavez and Whitaker as old men? They were older. They were at the tail. or towards the end of their career, particularly Cesar Chavez. But Cesar Chavez was, believe it or not, about only 30, 31 years old when Oscar fought him. It's just that he was I guess, a very old 31,
He
30
fought,
years.
yeah, like
Yeah.
the
Yeah,
amount of
yeah.
fights he
Hey,
had.
he
But
even
that Chavez would have still beat most fighters, but just not Oscar De La Hoya at his age and at that weight.
yeah. At the end
And
of the day,
Oscar, remember, it's not Oscar's fault that he was younger and basically almost a generation behind these guys. But believe me, had they been in his generation, in his prime, in their prime, he would have fought them because he did that with every other fighter. There's no fighter in boxing at Oscar's time, a top fighter that he didn't fight. It just
yeah.
isn't.
Well, at the end of the day, you're still building fighters. At the end of the day, I think
But
Paul.
real quick, I know we spent a lot of time on this
Yeah,
Canelo. We already did that.
yeah. Let's
Uh,
move on.
Canelo Crawford. We're in unanimous agreement. We don't want to see it. It's a fight for the casuals. It's not gonna be as good or as exciting as people think. It's another Mayweather Pacquiao. It's gonna be another dud. We could be wrong if one of them knocks each other out. Most likely it would be Canelo because he's a much bigger man. Now another quick topic that I want to touch on, and you know, we've spent years bashing boxing. We spent years bashing promotional companies. We spent years bashing the networks that air boxing because they haven't given us the fights that we wanted. Sean, you can tell the fans that the subscribers, the people watching that we've had conversations for close to 15 years now. And there was something where at the point that I was most fed up with boxing, I would say to you, man, I wish I was a billionaire. I wish I hit the lottery. I wish someone like that would pick this sport up and do what's right by it, what's supposed to be done. And bro, we're actually living that today, right now, with Turkey Alalshikh. Bro, this guy came out of nowhere, picked up the sport piece by piece. He's doing more and more for the sport every day. He bought the Ring magazine. He started making fights happen, the heavyweight fights over there in Saudi Arabia that we wanted to see, and the American guys couldn't make it happen. The European promoters couldn't make it happen. A guy from Saudi Arabia with his money had to come and make it happen. He's all right. Think about what I'm saying. Everybody knows Javante Davis. Everybody watching, even if they're casual, they know Javante Davis. They know who Teofimo Lopez is. They know who Ryan Garcia is. They know who Shakur Stevenson is, and they know who Devin Haney is. And guess what? Besides Ryan and Javante, none of them have fought each other,
Yeah,
except Ryan when he fought Haney, knocked him out, beat him by decision, dropped him several times. But Shakur hasn't fought Teo, hasn't fought
Ryan.
Tank, hasn't fought Ryan. Tank, especially Tank. Tank hasn't fought nobody, none of them except Ryan, under his conditions, bringing him down. And a lot of people ask me, well, why don't they fight each other? Because Turkey wasn't involved. What Turkey's doing, guys, is those fights that you constantly ask for years, and those why they don't fight each other, he's making them happen. That's what Turkey Al-Sheikh is doing. Turkey Al-Sheikh is the guy in Saudi Arabia who's in charge of entertainment for the Saudi Arabian government, for the kingdom, the prince and the king, whoever it is. He's in charge of the entertainment for them. That's what he gets paid for. He's the guy. If you don't know who he is, he's the guy that's making things happen in boxing. He bought the Ring magazine. He just had an award show with every top fighter uh, in boxing over there in London, save a few PBC fighters, right? Like Javante, he wasn't there. He wasn't invited for whatever reason. Or maybe he was and didn't show up. But we have to we have to give him his props for what he's doing, man. And we have to let everybody know that boxing is back because of Turkey Al-Sheikh. And I'm really, there's cars that I can't believe that are happening. There's things that I can't believe are happening. Like boxing is weird that way, where in baseball, the Yankees are gonna play the Red Sox, right? The Knicks are gonna play the Phillies, the Sixers. It's gonna happen. And boxing doesn't work that way. The guys that are supposed to fight half the time don't fight. because of politics.
The
But
the
with the
business, the
but
business.
Yeah,
but with
yeah.
With the Turkey Alalshikh, he's making it all happen, and
Correct.
he's calling people's bluff, and not only calling people's bluff, but he's exposing fighters.
Yeah,
And
I
how's
agree.
he exposing fighters? Because now fighters are getting in the ring because they're getting paid and they're getting their ass whooped.
And you're gonna fight somebody.
Because for the money, oh, it ain't worth the risk. It ain't worth. He's throwing so much money at you that he's making you take the risk.
Hmm.
Yeah, and that's why he's God sent, man, to the sport of boxing, because it's him putting that money up, right? Like you said, the Saudi officials say, "Yo, here's the checkbook. Do whatever you want." Like, and
No, 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 no.
the,
There's an
the,
agenda behind it. I
well,
mean,
there's a
it's just
look.
we're
Even if
beneficiaries of whatever the hell he's doing. As long as we get the fights, it doesn't matter.
even
It
if
doesn't matter.
even if
And
let's
Hey,
say
again, I'm
and
strictly talking
yeah,
for
yeah.
boxing, for the sport of
No,
boxing.
even if
I'm gonna give you guys the
even if
back
even
on that.
if even if the agenda is to somehow, right, monopolize boxing, where he it's just him, it's all under him, I don't care, right? Because you know why I don't care? For two reasons.
Not only do I, you should care, but you should care in a positive way. You should be
Yeah,
happy because
that's
that's
what I
what we
mean.
needed.
That's what I mean. This is what I'm telling you. Why I don't care, because people are gonna see it as a negative. No, one, you're gonna get paid, right? So good, because that's the yo, he ain't trying to shut up. You're gonna get paid, and two, we're gonna get the fights we want. I don't care if it's in Saudi Arabia. I don't care if it's in Somalia. I don't care if it's on a Navy boat in the middle of the Pacific Ocean. Just give me the fights that I want.
That
People need to stop effing crying all the time. Oh, why I gotta be in the US? Are you going to the fight? Then shut your
that
ass up.
that's where I'm going with that, and that's where I'm going. And the reason that I'm saying that is because the agenda of out of all of this is Riyadh season. And it seems to me that the main goal or the main objective of this is to make Dubai or Riyadh the next Vegas, to bring pretty much of tourism out there, because it's not only with boxing, it's a whole entertainment system as well.
Correct.
But with what you just said right now, it's pretty ironic because I mean, I was about to go to the Ryan and Devin fight, and I decided not to go. I decided against it, not because I thought that they were tickets too expensive, or I don't know, maybe I don't feel it was just I was more kind of like superstitious because of the date, because I felt something weird was gonna happen. I just didn't know what, but it didn't fill up. The tickets didn't sell, and all you heard pre-fight was like, "Oh, who's gonna go to New York? Like that's a whack ass fight. That fight is not gonna even do well." It the venue was full. It wasn't sold out, but it sold pretty well. However, what's funny about it now that there are rumors of that rematch in Riyadh, and people are like, "That's an American fight. That fight should be happening here." Is like you wasn't supporting the first time. You guys were bashing that fight the first time around. So now that there's drama behind it, you guys want to get behind it. The fans, boxing fans, are so fickle,
Look,
man.
but Sean, you keep up with this much more than I do, especially day by day, as a reason. The guy, I'm gonna name some of the people that are working with Turkey Alalshikh, so you guys understand, you comprehend top level fighters, right? We're talking about Daniel Dubois, Anthony Joshua, Tyson Fury, Alexander Usyk, Shakur Stevenson now, Virgil Ortiz, Floyd Schofield, Teofimo Lopez now, right? He's rumored to be a part of that. Ryan Garcia. Hold on, I ain't done yet. Naoya Inoue,
Pitbull Cruz.
Pitbull Cruz, and a lot of B fighters that aren't big. This guy, you mentioned it, Sean. You told me the other day, the only big fighter left, the
Tank.
only big name in boxing left that's not working with Turkey currently, who is it?
Javante Davis, and he's coming.
and
Trust
he's
me.
coming. Because
He's
there was one guy, the face of boxing, the biggest, who wasn't Turkey this. You can't talk to me like that. I'm not this. I'm not. Canelo Alvarez. He's not working with Turkey. He's taking pictures with him, smiling and everything. He went. He crossed he crossed an ocean from the Americas to Europe to go take a photo out with Turki Alalshikh.
yeah. We and
That's it. That's it. He cornered the market. It's
yeah,
over.
it is, and
It's
that's
over.
it. And Tank, Tank is constantly throwing shots at Turkey. Well, he hasn't built no fighter. Well, Ralphie, you made a great point earlier about PBC not building fighters. He need to look in the mirror himself, Javante Davis. And Turkey's job is not to build fighters. That's not why he's in
Nah,
here for.
nah,
He's
nah,
entertainment. He's
nah.
here to bring events together. He's here to put the best fights. He's not here to
He's
say,
here.
no, but
He
he's here to put,
he
come on. He don't
he's
got
here to put on the best fights. And if he doesn't put on the best fight, he'll give you the next best fight if you promise that the next fight, the fighter, is gonna be the big fight.
Bro, look at that February card coming soon. It's just it's ridiculous how stacked that is, and we're about to get more. That
Well,
Canelo.
look at what Ralphie just said. What he mentioned in the comment before he came on the show. Listen to what's being rumored, guys.
Oh yeah,
Devin Haney versus Ryan Garcia on the same card. Ryan Garcia fighting Pitbull Cruz. Devin Haney
before
fight right. Devin Haney fighting
Ramirez,
Jose
Jose,
Ramirez, which I'm really not okay with. Jose Ramirez is basically 2 feet out of boxing. He
and he
should.
looked bad in his last
Yeah,
fight.
he's done, and I know he needs a confidence builder, but you got to give him somebody a little better than that. Anyway, but the thing is, if they both win, they fighting each other. And now there's another rumor of Ryan Garcia versus Pitbull. Who else on the card?
No,
Teofimo Lopez
yeah,
versus Jerron Boots Ennis.
no,
So that would be those three guys on the same card, correct?
that'd be for the Ryan Haney card.
For October, yeah, for October, right?
So that'd be the
Mm.
co-main event. It'd
Yeah,
be Ryan Haney part two, and the co being T.O. and Boots.
So
yeah,
so so
And
so
because
there's more to that.
so so
There'll be more to that.
so look at that. So look at that. And even the better BF card, right? The better BF card, you, you guys don't understand the magnitude of what this guy is doing, man. Those of you that are not hardcore boxing fans, do you remember the list, Sean? The list of guys fighting, but it's nuts, man. It's nuts. I mean, look at the Fury Usyk fight. Um, you had Bo Hachuk on there. You had uh,
So I would say the Usyk Fury 2. That's probably the lightest undercard I've seen of all the Turkey cards. Wasn't really much names. I mean, you had that up and coming heavyweight Moses Iatwama. He looks good. You had Boha Chuck who beat up Davies, whooped his ass. There was some other solid fighters there. There wasn't really no highly,
but
names
what's the better be a Bevo 2 card, right? You
that's
know, I
coming
can't
up.
I can't even that's one of the most stacked cards in the history of the sport.
Yeah,
Can you
fact.
name some of the names that are fighting on there?
We got Shakur versus Schofield. We have
Shakur Stevenson.
I'm excited for that fight, man.
we have Virgil
That's
Ortiz Madrimov. We have Daniel Dubois versus Joseph Parker. We have Big Bang Zhang versus Kabayet. We have who else is the other
Yeah,
fight?
yeah, yeah, yeah. Look at this card. Look at this card. 'Cause
Hamza.
I had to look it up real quick, man. We got Daniel Dubois versus Joseph Parker. We got
Woo,
Shakur Stevenson versus Floyd Schofield.
woo,
We got Virgil Ortiz Jr. versus Israel Madrimov.
woo.
We got Carlos Adames versus
Hamza
Hamad
Shiraz.
Shiraz,
Yeah, that's
and we got the return of Zhang on there. It's just it
And
wasn't even it wasn't even plausible to see these kind of guys on the same card. Years ago, you would get one good fight on the card, and the rest would be duds. The rest would be trash. You know, this is really unbelievable what's going on.
it'd be, yeah. If you would have told me this about 6 7 years ago, a card of this magnitude, I would have said, "Listen, my man, I don't know. You might need a nap because you're just talking crazy right now. That's never gonna happen, but it's here, man. And you know what? Again, like you said, because this segment right here is regarding Turki Alalshikh. Thanks to him, right? Because again, once the money is there, right? Because that's always the biggest problem: money, money, money. Like you said, Dream, right? We know certain teams are gonna play each other in baseball, basketball, football, but boxing is the only sport where it's like, yeah, me and Ralphie makes a lot of sense. I know, but you know what? There's that, and there's too much politics. My promoter and his promoter doesn't do work together, and we're tired of that. We're tired of that. I've been tired of that. Thank you, Turkey, to get in here and say, you know what, kids, step to the side. What do you need? Here, boom, boom, y'all fight next. And now everybody's just chilling like, oh, okay. And Tank can say whatever he want, but you know what? The well gonna run dry because you can't keep fighting these Lamont Roach kind of fighters, these Frank Martin kind of fighters. People gonna be like, yo, what? How much? Nah, I'm good.
Yeah,
So
I think the water. I think the well already went dry over there at PBC. I think they're running on fumes. Um, Eubank, Chris
ooh,
Eubank Jr. versus Conor Ben. Okay, that's a fight that's been brewing for years. That's a fight that I necessarily don't really like. I think that's another fight for the casuals, especially the casuals in Europe. Being that Conor Ben is really 147 pounder. He's a small guy, facing a guy who was what Chris Eubank has fought as high as 168, if I'm not
yeah,
mistaken.
yes,
Um, whatever. It's a grudge match. It's a fight that again I think is more for the European casuals, and I think it's really gonna mess up Connor's career because he's really playing with his weight. He's all over the place with his weight. He was at 47, then he went up to the fight was
54.
gonna be yeah no, but before that he was training to fight Chris
And
Eubank
yeah,
at 160
100.
or 160 something pounds, right? You
Yeah,
know, so you have to decide, man, what weight class are you fighting in? So now if he fights him at 160, is he gonna come down to 54 to 147? What's he gonna do? He's too small for 54. You seen the guys at 54. You seen what the guys at 54 look like. You seen the Bakrams. You seen the Fundoras. You seen the Timzus, right? You seen the Charlos. You see the Jarrett Herds. You see the Julian J. Rock Williams. You see the Banana Rosario. All those guys, all those guys are bigger than Conor Ben. So kind make up your mind. Do you want money? Do you want do you want to actually compete and be a champion in a weight class and actually fight the top fighters in that weight class? So I'm not. Am I gonna watch it? Sure, because yeah, it's being hyped up, the animosity, the families, etc. But what does it mean for boxing? Again, just like Canelo Crawford, what does it mean for the division that they're gonna fight in? What division?
yeah, that
You know,
makes that's a good point right there. You just made what it does for the sport. I like that, right?
right? What does it
Because
do for the sport as the sport? I'm not talking about the names. I'm talking about for the competition, for the
yeah,
sport as an athletic competition. What does it do?
yeah,
And what have either of these guys done to make it such a big fight besides being the sons of two
former
former
fight.
fighters?
No, and plus, what makes it exciting is that they have big names over in Europe. Yeah, these,
Nerd says these sons of legends never pan out. Easy comes, easy goes. I
yeah,
mean, that's a great point.
yeah.
That's a
And
great point.
I tell you this, yeah,
And I
Ben,
think history is going to repeat itself right here, nerd. I think you're right. I think that's where Conor is taking his career. He could be a much better fighter. He could be in a much better place. But if he's pulling these kind of antics, then he's gonna go the commercial route
yeah,
rather than the
yeah.
real the real route.
He might be just chasing the bag, and you saw him at 140. And I don't think it was like 150 something when he fought my man here from the Bronx, Peter Dobson, and he beat him handily, but he couldn't hurt him, right?
And the
So
same thing when he fought that Mexican dude, that real
yeah,
big Mexican dude that looked
yeah, I
like
was there. I
Margarito.
was at that fight actually.
Yeah.
So
So
now at 160, what's your pop look like? You know, and like you said, Dream, let's just say he does beat Eubanks Jr. up there. Is he gonna campaign at 160?
he
He
can't.
can't
He
beat no
can't.
Radames. He
He
can't beat
can't.
no Lara.
He
He
can't.
can't beat
He
no
can't.
Hamza Nah,
No,
man.
he can't.
So that's
So
so I get it when you say what what's to gain from this, and
yeah, and then
I
and then he's again, you're a human being. You're playing with your biology, with your body. You bulking up, you slimming down, you bulking up, you slimming down. What are you doing? Where are you going? You know what are you telling your body? Go ahead, Ralph.
Let me ask you this, and it just for Maniac, because you mentioned the pop. Do you really think that the quote unquote PEDs, because he says that he eggs, I don't know. Do you
yeah.
think is the PEDs had a big impact on the power, or you think that the power going away was or the pop going away was a lack of pretty much inactivity?
Well, I mean, it's definitely a legitimate good question, right? Because before, right, when we found out he got popped, that knockout to Algeria, this dude was
Yeah,
putting dudes to
that
bed,
The
and
knockout of
yeah,
Algeria, yeah.
yeah,
yeah,
and
that
ever
Jerry,
since
that was vicious.
that was ugly. That was
Vicious.
ugly.
Yeah.
And now he has fought 2 times since he's come back from his suspension, and he looks explosive, but just no pop behind it. You
But
know,
remember that he has come back, but at a higher weight. He fought Algeria at 147, 147 or 140. We have to look that up.
that wasn't
Right?
140. They
Was it
definitely didn't fight
140?
him.
Okay, so
Had to
was
be
that 140?
147.
It was at 147, and he came back and he fought at 54. He fought much bigger guys, and he's not an excellent puncher at 47. He's a good puncher at 47, but at 54, he's just he got enough power to keep you honest because he's not a 154 pounder. But
Imagine at 160.
he was on his way to fighting Eubank. He got popped, so he came down to 54, had a few fights. But again, he's not a 160 or 154 pounder. I think that that kid, Connor Ben, I think he's legit. But of course, there's an asterisk. With that knockout of Algeria, and that one again, he's a one to me. Looking at him, my opinion, person, he's a 147 pounder, no more.
Yeah, well, I want to see him make that weight again comfortably. Low key.
Loki Eubanks punch resistance is gone, I believe. He got spanked by Smith, and I see him stanky leg his last fight.
Yeah,
So,
yeah. I remember.
uh,
Look, we'll see. Like we said, right? It's the fight's gonna take place in London. It's gonna do huge numbers because one, the European fans are the number one fans in boxing. They the most supportive. Let me put it like that, right? But I'll put them as one because if you're gonna support your fighters, so be it. But kind of like Dream said, to be honest, me personally, I'm more interested in this match than the Crawford Canelo. Not
yeah, me
that
too.
I asked for this fight, I really don't. But hey, let's see. Just give me a solid undercard.
Yeah, I think I think it's more of an even fight because I think that the small man here has a legitimate chance.
Correct, correct.
Yeah.
Because now, real quick, man, Teofimo Lopez, Ryan Garcia, Devin Haney. Now that all these things are
Emotion.
seem more possible. We already had Devin versus Haney one, so they're looking at Devin Haney too. Okay, cool. But what excites you guys more about the possibility, about the endless possibilities here with what would you guys like to see personally? Would you like to see Shakur versus Lopez? Would you like to see Lopez versus Garcia? How about Shakur versus Garcia? There's so many ways you can match these things up now.
Mix and
Like
match.
what prospects of fights happen? What makes you most excited? And now throw Boots into that mix at 147. What is it? What makes Virgil Ortiz, Boots? They're all up there 147,
Everybody.
150.
This
Okay, so
with the exception of Javante.
So what excites you more? What fights would you like to see Maniac now that they are possible between the four and five, six kings of 140?
Wow, man, shit. I've been very vocal about that. About the only Ryan's only fought two of the 4 or 5 kings, whatever we want to, what they were supposed to be. I won't call them that anymore. But now, where there is opportunity, realistically, now with Turkey being involved. Listen, man, one of the fights, man, I would love to see Tio versus Shakur, right? The typical boxer puncher versus the technician. I think that fight will be huge for boxing and for us, right? And it's at 140. But now hearing Tio versus Boots, that fight would perhaps be at 147. So is Tio gonna be coming back and forth? Will be the question. Man, it's just shit, man.
I mean, let's not forget about Pitbull either, who I didn't mention in
Yeah,
that, but he's in
you
that
know
group.
who I would love to see, and I think we spoke about this, Dream. Give me Pitbull Subriel Matias, man, because for two reasons. One,
That's the fight.
Puerto Rico, Mexico, we know that sells. That's the biggest rivalry. Plus, their styles of fighting, right, is gonna make for a good fight because Subriel, a fighter that has good fucking dangerous power, but just doesn't let his hands go, will have no choice but to let his hands go because Pitbull letting them hands go. He's letting the clip off. He coming in nothing
Yeah,
on
I think
smoke.
I think I think because of that, Pitbull knocks him out. That's what I think.
Probably. I
Not
can see it. I'll favor Pitbull, but
not
regardless, it'll be a fight because I know he's once Matias start touching Pitbull, I think that this might be the first time we see Pitbull like, oh shit, bro, somebody really hurting this dude. But if he's not active enough, Pitbull gonna finish him, man, because Pitbull don't play. So yeah,
you, you
It
guys ever
is
heard this? You guys ever heard the saying "a bull in a china shop"?
yeah.
Okay. What if someone were to literally, let's say for the sake of YouTube, or you had the money and you had the capital, the funds to make this happen, like Ashton Kutcher when he did the show that he did, what
Punk,
was the name of it?
punk.
Punked, where he
Yeah.
yeah, where he would do stuff. He had the resources. Let's say I could literally take a bull and put him in a china shop and let him loose just to see just to see him destroy all the china in there.
Yeah.
That's what I want to see. I want to see Pitbull versus Devin Haney. That's a bull in the china shop. That's a guy with a chin that can punch
He don't
against
like
a guy
he
that's
don't like
that's
Haney.
made that's made out of yo. He made out of paper, what paper? I want to just showing just to see what happens. I love to see that fight
but
because
I said the same thing earlier today because people were asking me like, oh, like what's so wrong about the Jose Ramirez fight? Like why people are down on it? And I'm like, listen, the reason people are upset about that Haney Jose Ramirez fight is like Jose he seemed to be a shot fighter,
for
and then you
several
put
fights now, for
and then
several
you
fights
put him
now.
and then you put him versus a tap jab grab and hold type of fighter, which you already know what the fight is going to be about. If in fact the public or the public that seems to be swayed and convinced that it was in fact the Austrian, put him against another guy, just like Dream said. That the what he saw, you called the
A bull in
A
a
bu-
China shop.
put throw him in the bull in the China shop and see what happens and see if
Yeah,
it
yeah,
is in fact.
which means is China synonymous to antiques or
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
plates and stuff like that.
With
So
things
imagine a
easily to broken
yeah
in a
yeah
bull.
imagine a bull in the store where all they sold was porcelain plates and all kind. That's Pitbull versus Devin Haney. And of
that
course,
see
no, you wouldn't put Devin in there with a Pitbull right away because that would be murder. That would be senseless. But there's plenty of guys at 140 because you know what? You know one thing I don't like, Sean. I don't like when people abuse certain fighters. I think that's almost an abuse. I think not that Haney's gonna abuse him, but I think that you're gonna sacrifice one fighter to make the other fighter look good. And he's an honest guy. He's a blue collar guy, Jose Ramirez. He never ducked no smoke. He does good for his community, for his people. He shot, and now you're gonna put him in there to
Former world champion.
to boost the ego and the confidence of a guy that's going around crying and suing people for battery because of
Well,
stuff that happened in the ring.
the lawsuit has been thrown out for the record.
No, he hasn't. No, he hasn't.
No,
It's
I
been
heard.
paused. No, it
Okay,
was paused. It
pause.
was
Okay,
paused
so
until it is settled. So
it's gonna. I think.
So I guess what was the rules that he would have to throw it out completely in order to fight?
I
no
think that's what's
way.
gonna happen.
Hold up. So there has been a pause on it by both parties because Ryan countersued. What Devin seems to be claiming is that he needs Ryan to fully enroll into VADA from today and be in there 24/7, 365 before he actually drops everything out completely. And Ryan's thing on it, which I seems to be on his side on this one, is like, well, why it has to be VADA? Why can't we use USADA or WADA or some other institution? Because the way that I look at it is like, to me, it seems like a conspiracy theory, but to this day, no one has told me how does Devin's little brother says 2 days after the fight, Allah told me while I was praying that Ryan was gonna test it hot.
Yeah, and you know
Yeah,
why?
look,
It's sensitive because that's religious, and I don't want to offend anybody. When it comes to their religion and whatever.
Take
But yes,
religion
but
aside.
Ralphie, I'm with you. Yeah, I know. Yeah.
look,
All right.
look, look. Yeah, Ralph, you make a great point. At the end of the day, Victor Conti has a close relationship with the Haneys. Bill Haney has been rumored, according to Regis Prograis, to pay for losses being removed from Devin's record in Mexico. Easy to believe because they had that happen here in the United States as well, and we all saw it before our eyes. Remember, Devin is technically, legally undefeated
Undefeated.
because the loss was taken away. So, Bill Haney's a crook. He's a convicted felon, I believe. He went to jail,
Yeah.
came out. He's a crook. He's making money. He's a money maker. He knows how to use his son to make money. The Ryan Garcia fight backfired on him. They thought it was easy money, it was easy pickings. It didn't work that way.
Yeah. That's
So,
what he said. He
you
told
know what? They
Ryan.
can they
He
can
said he's
use
picking his.
another testing agency. First of all, Devin Haney, you have no say. You have no say. You got your ass whooped. I'm still the A side, no matter how much you sue me, no matter if I got suspended. You want this fight more than I do. I'm not crying for the rematch. I don't care. Even Oscar De La Hoya said, I don't want to see the rematch for what? He whooped his ass. But if Ryan is okay with it, we'll fight him again.
Yeah.
Right? So if I'm Ryan, I test with whoever, but I'm not gonna test with who you want me to test. That's like Sean, you calling me to your block to fight me. And I'm all the way over here. Nah, we gotta meet. We gotta meet in the middle somewhere, dog. So, you want me to go over there? So if I'm hemming you up, your man's gonna come out and hit me with a Hennessy bottle. That's dumb. I'm putting myself at a disadvantage. I'm setting myself up,
Yeah.
right? So I agree with that. And I know this is different. This is not the streets. This is a testing agency. But
Yeah.
remember, you talk about another crook. Victor Conte is a convicted felon as well. He's a crook.
One of the biggest.
Mm.
One of the biggest.
Memo Heredia is another crook.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you got all these testing agencies now with their ran by crooks, right? It really makes no sense. Boxing is strange. I mean, bro, if you were to, you know, molest a kid or touch a kid in the wrong way, bro, you can't be like 100 yards near a school. So what the fuck are these guys? Are these violators of the sport who are not competitors? They're not competitors. They're guys that used to get people to help people cheat. What the fuck are they doing near the sport anyway?
Good point.
But that's boxing. Boxing is the wild wild west.
Yeah. It is.
Absolutely. Hopefully
Nerd.
Turkey could come up. Go ahead. Let's read the comment.
Nerd says Taylor, Prograde, and Ramirez are the old guard, and they are done. I got Duarte knocking out Prograde too. Very possible, and you know what?
Yeah.
I'm gonna agree with that. That's a great pick, and that's a great bet.
Yeah. Duarte gonna cook Progress. He's done. What I
Yeah,
saw Jack Catterall do to him, he's done, bro.
yeah,
I
yeah.
he said he
Yeah.
retired, man, but Look, man, next week, finally, next week we get boxing. Next week, finally, we get In the Way, the return of In the Way Friday. And then Saturday is Diego Pacheco versus Nelson. It's gonna
Oh,
be,
that's next Saturday.
yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think Diego Pacheco, they're really trying to push him. They're trying to. I haven't seen. He hasn't shown me anything. Nothing.
I thought he showed. I mean, he's showing something. I mean, that's a Lakey fight. I saw pretty good things. I don't know. I think compared to the rest of the 168 division, he looks promising. It's not like, oh wow. I'm just saying, like, in comparison to all the other fighters right now in 168, I think he looks probably the most promising out of everyone.
And
And
and and on that card we have Andy Cruz. He
Oh
returned.
yeah, nice.
So
yeah,
so next
not big on him either. A lot of talk, a lot of yap,
so
not a lot of
next week
action.
the good thing is we get boxing back next week. So and then after that is Benavidez Morel. You
All
know,
right, hold on. But is it in a way fighting soon?
that's what I
Yeah,
said.
he,
Next
he
week,
said it. He
Friday.
mentioned.
Okay, all right.
He's basically that's Friday morning, right? So me, I work at 7:30 a.m. I'm up by 5:30. So I'll get to watch the fight on my way to work. And then I have the app, so I could always go back and watch the other fights or the fight in its entirety in case if I have to miss it. But
Now
yeah,
I had a question for you guys, man, but it slipped my mind. Uh, okay, this is the question. How long? And we're gonna wrap it up with this. How long do you guys think that it's gonna take for Javante Davis to come over the Turkey side?
I'll let Ralphie go first.
Um,
Because basically he's gonna have everybody else grouped up, even though Javante really has shown no interest in fighting all those guys that we mentioned.
this is gonna be tricky. It's gonna be tricky mentioning this, but this is all going to depend how much public demand comes from the Shakur fight. Because now that Shakur's with Turkey, Turkey might have the money to actually offer. And looking at the other side, they might try to leverage that out in order to get some money from there. Now, if Shakur somehow gets upset by Schofield or something happens, then it Tank may have to wait until the boat has fully sunk on the PVC before he fully makes a jump.
Listen, that's a great point there regarding he might be that loyal, right? Or be that stubborn. We're like, I don't
Yeah.
care. I don't need him.
No, because
Listen,
they have almost like a cult following that, like, you hear it right now on the people. Oh, yeah, Tank is the one taking risks, and I'm like, my brother, Tank hasn't fought, like, just like you guys say, like, Ryan has to practically force that fight in order to make it happen.
it only happens because Ryan.
Yeah.
Ryan wanted that fight, and that's the reason it happened, not because of Tank. So I'll say this: by next year, Tank, you'll see Tank rumors with Turkey because that's what the bag is. Dream. He's not going to be getting 30, 25 to fight the Lamont Roaches. So, and it's time already, bro. No one can say anything regarding Tank. So I say next year, 2026, Tank will be working with Turki Alalshikh.
Yeah, next year, shit, I say maybe at the end of this one, man, because this year just started. But anyway, guys, that's it, man. You already know. Share, like, subscribe. We got to be more consistent. Everybody watching, but we'll be back, man. And enjoy boxing. Enjoy what's going on. Share, like, subscribe, comment, ask us whatever you want to ask us. Pose any questions that anything you guys would like us to do videos on.
Shout to Nerd, on the chat.
Shout the nerd. You know what I mean? And everybody else that tuned in. You guys already know, man. Until next time.